The Holocaust Museum and Cohen Education Center's pop-up museum brings the museum to you. This includes delivery, setup, participation by museum staff and volunteers if requested, activities, breakdown, and removal. The cost is free and it typically stays on site for 1 to 2 weeks. It has been displayed as far as Highlands County to the northeast, Sarasota County to the north, and Marco Island to the south. It often leads to a request to have a Holocaust survivor visit the school as well. Another advantage of using the pop-up museum instead of a visit is that a whole school can actually participate. Instead of, for example, 300 eighth graders visiting the museum, they, plus an additional 300 to 600 sixth and seventh graders can visit the pop-up museum at their schools as well. And it can be opened up to the general public. Of course, there's nothing like coming to the museum, but distance and the pandemic are realities. Typically, it's set up in a gym, auditorium, or extra room, and it takes about an hour to an hour and a half to bring in and set up and vice versa. Components include easels to hold our history and memory panel set. The history and memory panel set is a 17-panel overview of the Holocaust that mimics the museum's main exhibit. It was done in 2008 and is being reworked to be updated and to match the new location's exhibit. Artifacts or facsimiles of them are included. They come from the museum's collection and are staged near the appropriate history and memory panel to add a tangible element to the student's visit. Black and white survivor photographs, taken professionally by Eric Keller, are the other mandatory component. Depending on availability, anywhere between 6 to 14 of them are displayed. The photos include a meaningful quote. A handful of them have QR codes associated with them. QR codes, or quick response codes, allow students with smart devices to scan and watch a short 1 to 3 minute snippet of the survivor's story. Optional components include other panel exhibits. For example, if a teacher wants to focus on the role of women during World War II and the Holocaust, or maybe it's Women's History Month, we can provide a colorful, light panel exhibit called Girl Power. Girl Power highlights a number of women who resisted or rescued others during the Holocaust at great personal risk. Among them are Irina Sendler and Corrie ten Boom. Others, like Hannah Sinesh and Noor Khan, are less known, but can be equally or even more so inspirational, especially to female students. This has been really successful at the different PACE schools for girls in Collier and Lee counties. If a teacher wants to inject a cultural or musical element into the lesson, we can provide Calypso, singing the news of the day. Another colorful exhibit, it introduces Calypso music that, during World War II and the Holocaust, focused on current events of the day. Songs about Hitler, the invasion of Poland, and more add a unique lightness to this heavy topic of the Holocaust while still conveying the reality of what was happening. We don't just set up the pop-up museum and run. In the past, we've offered docents on site to give a museum-like tour. In today's world, the question of volunteers even being allowed into schools is unresolved. However, we offer an activity that stands in for the docent and volunteer and takes the weight off the teacher's shoulder while putting the onus and learning on the students. This is in lieu of the guided tour. A guided student as docent activity provides some verbiage, questions, and advice of what to highlight by the panel. 2 or 3 students are assigned one panel. The teacher can have them study or look over the panel and then do additional research on it to add more information. The class then visits the pop-up museum. That first group of students goes to their panel while the rest of the class remains on tour. The students present their information just like a docent. Then the students with panel 2 present their information while those from panel 1 join the tour, and so forth until the whole tour is done. Second activity is a scavenger hunt. It begins with a 5-question pre-tour survey. The scavenger hunt's 21 questions are provided along with an answer sheet for the teacher. The teacher gives the students a time limit, and the students then visit the pop-up museum looking for answers. Each panel has at least one question associated with it, and students can later present their findings in class after they return. The activity concludes with the same survey to assess learning. The pop-up museum has been incredibly popular in recent years and will only continue to grow. Please let me know if you have any questions about this pop-up museum. My email address is sam@hmcec.org. Thank you.